If you are coming to my channel because you saw the thumbnail and you are struggling with chronic pain, I know what it's like. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how I have been living with chronic pain for almost 15 years. If you've been living with chronic pain for even 1 year, you understand that it is very difficult. So my heart goes out to you. What I want you to know is that this video is filled with so much hope. I have a lot of experience. I have a lot to share because I have been through it, as I'm sure you have too. And I have been through it in a way that I don't feel like a lot of people have gone through it. Maybe you've been praying for some answers, and maybe this is the answer to your prayer. So stick with me here all the way through to the end. So you notice the thumbnail of this video says chronic pain, a gift. Maybe you were like, what the fuck? Maybe that sparked your curiosity. Maybe it pissed you off. And I understand. How can chronic pain be a gift? Now, I am not saying in any way at all that chronic pain should be looked at as a gift all the time, that you should be super grateful for it all the time. It is difficult to live with something that you are essentially kind of suffering with sometimes, but there's a way in which you can look at it from a different perspective, if you haven't already, as such a gift. In the midst of living with chronic pain for almost 15 years, I have truly been able to find peace, purpose, and joy. Now, there are days when it's really difficult, for sure, and I've learned ways to manage my chronic pain in holistic ways. Now, my hope is by the end of this video, you will feel understood, you will feel validated, you will feel seen, you will feel inspired, and you will feel like you too can transform your chronic pain into something that could quite possibly be one of the biggest gifts in your life, which doesn't make any sense. Often in this world, especially when we're looking at this world through a spiritual lens, that everything in this world, there is both something happening where we can see it, and it's also a spiritual thing going on behind the scenes as well. So chronic pain is no different. There's something spiritual going on underneath the surface of the thing which we call chronic pain. In 2010, I was working for a dentist. I was at the front desk and I was managing a lot. Prior to working at this dental practice, I worked at a chiropractic office. I didn't have any back pain, none. But the chiropractor I was working for asked me to jump on the adjusting table to get adjusted almost every day. I really didn't want to, but at the time, I didn't know how to speak up and listen to my body. So I would jump on the table, my face would be in the little hole on the massage table. He would push on my back right here, right where I have a patch. I have a lidocaine patch on right now. So he would push really hard on that area of my back every single day. And I would be like, oh, I'd be wincing in pain, but I was too afraid to say anything. After doing this for a long time, I ended up quitting that job for lots of reasons, but I ended up moving to this dental practice, right? So now that brings us to 2010. Shortly after I was working for this dentist, I started to notice that I was in an immense amount of pain. Now, granted, I'd be sitting at the desk for 8 hours and I'd be talking on the phone. And this was when phones didn't have I didn't have a microphone kind of thing, because this was way back in 2010. So I'd be talking on the phone like this, going like this. Oh, it even hurts my neck to do that right now. All day. And I'd be typing and I'd be talking to patients. And so I was in a lot of pain. And one day, one of my fellow employees came up to me and asked me what was wrong. And I just lost it. I just started bawling my eyes out. My boss overheard me. Before I knew, I was on my way to a hospital. Long story short, what happened is I got laid off from my job. Physically, it just became so difficult for me even to sit. It's hard for me to even sit. Like, it hurts right now to sit, and that's why I'm stopping and starting this video so that I can walk around and stretch. I was so flippin' scared, and then I started this obsession to try to figure out what this was, what this pain was. It was a stabbing pain in my spine, my thoracic and my cervical spine, to try to figure out how to alleviate this, whether through medication or through surgery. I went to copious amounts of doctors. I've had every procedure known to mankind done to my body. I've even had nerves burned off my body. It's unreal when I think about the great lengths that I have gone to try to get rid of this pain so that I would be pain-free. And there finally came a point after many, many years where I had exhausted all of my money in this pursuit of trying to just feel better right? Which makes sense. Why would you not want to feel better? I would go to churches and I would have people lay their hands on me, and people would tell me if I had enough faith then I would be healed, and I would read parts of the Bible that said, your faith has healed you, and I'd be like, I mustn't have enough faith, and then I would cry in my room because I was like, God, how come I don't have enough faith? I would sometimes think God doesn't love me. It was crazy the amount of pain that I went through, in addition to the pain, trying to get rid of the pain, and then also the mental pain going along with that. And then also the anxiety and the fear of how am I going to, as a single woman, at the time I was living in the Bay Area of California, how am I going to pay for my studio apartment? How am I going to make a living? And through all this, I was also weighing and measuring every single morsel of my food because I was trying to heal from an eating disorder. I was going to meetings. I was showing up to a sponsor call every single day. I was sponsoring. And then I started to get debilitating migraines on top of that. At some point in this journey, I realized that I just couldn't do this anymore. Every time I would talk about my pain, someone else would have some kind of new thing that they wanted to present to me. Have you ever tried this? I just got to the point where I was like, I can't. Like, I really can't do this anymore. I have got to get to this place where I see it as a gift, or I see it as my friend, or I befriend it, or I learn how to live with it, because it might just make me crazy for the rest of my life if I feel like I'm only going to be happy if this pain goes away. In the same way, I'm only going to be happy if I find my soulmate. Well, what if we can be happy right now? What if we can find true joy right now in the midst of a world that's just not completely perfect? We're not living in heaven. Somewhere along the line, I began to see this chronic pain as a gift. Remember, I told you I got laid off from my job, and someone asked me to babysit, and I did. I babysat. When I got there, the kids asked me if I could face paint them, and I had never done that before. The second I started painting on their little toes and their hands and their faces, I felt like I had found heaven. After that, moms were calling me and asking me if I would paint faces at their kids' birthday parties, and then that became a way for me to make a living. Face painting, doing the very thing that has become my most favorite thing that I have ever done in my life. Now, I'm a painter, so that's one of my paintings right here in my room. I've always loved art, but to be able to paint on people, if it were not for this chronic pain, I would not have found face and body painting. The more I look at this as a gift, the more I learn to live with it, the more peace I'm going to have. Even though sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to do more in a day, but I can't because I have physical limitations. But then what I realize is that I have a tendency to do too much. So this chronic pain actually slows me down so much that it almost forces me to sit with God and to be completely reliant upon God, and not have my security be rooted in anything other than God and God's providence, rather than me feeling like my security lies in a job, my security lies in somebody else. Living with this pain has made me a very mentally strong person. I have learned how to persevere. The amount of days that I have had to exercise acceptance, surrender is unbelievable. And really, honestly, those spiritual muscles, those spiritual attributes of being able to persevere and to be able to be tenacious and to be able to surrender and to be able to trust God, those are invaluable. I don't know as though those would be able to be sharpened and strengthened as much if I had had no chronic pain. But this chronic pain completely humbles me all the time. I have to remember every single day that I am human, that I am not able to go. It's helped me to keep the proper perspective on life, on what really matters, which is people, connection, being present, listening, patience, empathy. I have to lay down a lot. What are you gonna do when you're just lying there? Well, you can connect with people. You can truly just give people the gift of your time and your presence and just listening. Now, if I did not have pain, I'd probably be go. I don't have time. Now, I wouldn't necessarily have woken up and prayed for this, but actually, when I really look back, it has been such a gift and such a blessing. So I encourage you, even though it can be so difficult, to see pain not as an enemy, but as a guide. Not as something to push away, but as something that's trying to communicate something to your soul about spiritual things. Something that's trying to say, hey, let's come up here. let me just speak to you and tell you things that you need to hear, dear one. I'm not punishing you. This is not a punishment. This is actually something because you're loved, you're adored, and that somehow this pain could lead you to a very passion-filled life about what really matters in life. Now, I am not here to dog on any medication. I'm not here to dog on surgeries. I'm not here to dog on anything. All I'm doing is just merely trying to share my perspective of that I have lived with fucking incredibly painful, debilitating chronic pain, both in my spine, and then also I went through a period of about 3 to 4 years of debilitating migraines where I was in the hospital. I was pretty much having a full-blown migraine about 16 days out of the month, if not more, every single month, where I couldn't even get out of bed. I was throwing up constantly because the pain was so bad. I just thought I was gonna live like that for the rest of my life. I also lived with incredible panic attacks for a while as well. I think pain is just part of being human. Instead of being someone who tries to get rid of it, who tries to imagine that this shouldn't be happening, to see it from a spiritual lens is so important, because otherwise we end up in addiction. Otherwise we end up in suffering. Otherwise we end up disconnected. Otherwise we end up not having peace. Otherwise we end up being depressed. There's a way in which you can transcend, and this isn't a way that's rooted in fantasy. This isn't where you're not rooted in reality. You're rooted in reality. You have pain. I have pain, but I'm not fucking drunk, and I'm not like all zooted up. I feel all the pain, the mental pain, the physical pain. I feel it all. But I also at the same time feel God's love and presence, and I am living with true joy and passion, able to just put into perspective what's really important in this world, and that is peace and your personal relationship with God, being connected to God, hearing from God, listening to God, being guided to things that are good for your soul, to things that are good for your soul and other people as well. Not only good for your soul, but good for your body as well. Like, I haven't had to put crap in my body for a really long time, and that's a miracle. I don't know how many times I would have loved to just completely been catatonic and not had to feel all of this. So how I manage chronic pain is through holistic methods. Now, I do use this lidocaine patch occasionally, and occasionally I will take some ibuprofen, but that's it when it comes to medications. Now, given how much pain I'm in, I should literally just be on the couch all day, complaining about my life, depressed, eating, watching television, and not moving around. But I get out of bed at 4 a.m., about 4 a.m. every day. I'm on a 12-step meeting. I sponsor women. I am reading. I am journaling. I'm making YouTube videos. I go to the gym. I lift weights. I am running when I can. I'm walking. I'm making sure that I'm trying to stay as limber as possible and being flexible, and be like, yeah, well, you don't understand. You don't understand how much pain I'm in. I'm in a lot of pain. So I listen to my body. I don't push it too much, but I also just don't give into it. The more I lift weights, the more I walk, the more I do things, the better I feel and the less pain I have. And sometimes I don't even feel any pain when I'm going for a walk because I'm so relaxed and I'm so in a place of peace. It's when I'm doing things where I'm pushing, I'm drinking too much coffee, maybe I ate too much sugar, maybe I just did too much with my upper body, like I was painting for way too long and my posture wasn't very good. And then I'm in a lot of pain, and I'm like, well, yeah, because you weren't making the best choices that were in alignment with your body. So the more I make choices that are in alignment with my body, the less pain I'm gonna be in. I was diagnosed with something called central sensitization, which means that your nervous system and how it's operating, it should be operating at this like normal kind of place, but mine was so whacked from being in a fight or flight kind of space for so many years that my set point was way up here. So when something stressful would happen, I would just shoot to the clouds, but I would never go all the way back to where it should be like more neutral and just balanced. No, my set point was really, really high. So I was always producing like cortisol, and I was just always in a place of like high stress, and that's not good. Over time, it's going to wear at your muscles. It's going to just wear at your psyche. And so this chronic pain has slowed me down, and it has had me pay attention to my nervous system and prioritizing things like rest, icing, heating, going in the water, exercising, lifting, stretching. Hopefully this has been encouraging. I really want to encourage you to see it as a gift, as quite possibly a gift. This is not to minimize any pain or suffering at all. Sometimes surrender really is the answer. Sometimes just throwing up our hands and saying, God, I just don't want to live like this anymore. Acceptance can be so hard. If we're trying to change something that cannot be changed, we are going to suffer. Remember, chronic pain does not have to control your life. Do not let it control your life. Maybe chronic pain could be a gift. Just for today, you have the ability to turn your suffering into something beautiful. One of the gifts that comes out of suffering is empathy, is compassion, is that we get to care about one another. When you truly know what it's like to suffer and be in the actual shoes of one that has suffered in the way that you're suffering. I know what it feels like to have a severe eating disorder. I know what it feels like to have extreme low self-worth. I know what it feels like to lack confidence. I know what it feels like to live with chronic pain for the past 14 years. I know what it's like to not be a mom. I know what it's like to have never gotten married. I know what it's like to be suffering from alcohol abuse. I know what it's like where you can't stop hurting yourself. I know what it's like to continue making choices that are hurting you, but you feel like you can't stop. I know what it's like. It makes me somebody that can understand. And I've transcended these things. Thank you so much for being here. And my heart really does go out to you. If you are struggling in any way, you are suffering, I just want you to know that you're not alone and that there is hope and there are solutions and there is a God that loves you so damn much and that it is true that God is good. Things that we thought could be the end of our world could actually be the beginning of a pathway for us that we didn't even know was there for us to go down. So if this resonated with you at all, if you are getting any insights or any hope or inspiration or anything, I would love to hear from you in the comment section, or you could also reach out and send me a message. I do take one-on-one calls. You can schedule a call with me if you are looking for extra support. The links are in the description box below. Please go ahead and share this video with anybody that you know that is suffering in any way with any kind of pain, whether it's emotional or physical, mental. Hopefully it will help them. Thank you so much for being here. Go out and paint the world with your color, your light, and your love, and I will do the same. All right, bye.